Kure, Farayway, a tale of ancestors, migration, and identity. Dini Aniko, who am I? I'll tell you who I am. I am a descendant of the biggest ancestral migration of the Bantu tribe, from the Tanganyika and Baka tribal regions. I come from the center of the earth where the equator line cuts the world in two. From a time before a small group of men played dominoes with the land and the scrabble for Africa began. My name is Anna Mudeka, and this is my story. My ancestors come from the true cradle of life, where the first woman walked the earth. From a belief in Vadzimu, which holds that the ancestral spirits may choose to return in times of crisis. My great ancestor Nehanda walked out of Guru Uswa, the tall dense grass at the center of the earth 70,000 years ago. It was many years later that the ancestors grew restless. You must leave, they told the people. They looked up and saw Hungwe, the fish eagle, circling as the elders spoke of faraway places. The great Bantu migration began. The people followed where Hungwe led, and when they grew tired, Hungwe circled above and waited while people rested. After many years, the great bird finally landed, and the people laid the first stone of the great Zimbabwe Mabwe Empire. Mine is a lineage of kingdoms, chieftains, and kingship. The sun rose with the spirits of my ancestors between the mighty Yambeji River, which gushes down at Musuotunya and snakes alongside Dipororo Temate River, all the way to the Indian Ocean. My ancestors lived during the mighty Roji, Mbire, Wata, and Mwenemutapa dynasties of kings. They ruled for centuries. King Nyatsimba Mutota, the first warrior prince of the Mwenemutapa dynasty, was father to Nyameka Charwe, who embodied the ancestral spirit of Nehanda, who gifted us rain and good harvest. Gaina! Nehanda is my ancestor, and I'm filled with pride. She's the lion spirit. She was embodied by many mediums in a long line. Charwe, Toreva, Matope, Gumbareshumba, Soronzo, Changamire, and my direct ancestor, Murenga. Nehanda is bound to our Bantu heritage by the lion totem. Shikiro ya Mondoro, as am I. My totem is Sokomukanya, the baboon, the spy, always watching for danger. Sokomungane, the one who gathers the people. And Vasikana Vachitonga, female leader. I am honored to share the same totem as the founder, ancestor of Zimbabwe, Murenga, who gave us the famous word, Chimurenga uprising. It was during the Charwe, Nehanda's time, that everything changed. A very sick 17-year-old boy from Bishop Stortford, called Cecil Rhodes, was sent to live with his brother in KwaZulu-Natal, and he soon discovered her power. Dear fellow, remember you're an Englishman, and you have consequently won the first prize in the lottery of life. Imagine how our history would be shaped today if he had never set foot there. He was too arrogant. Taxation on my heart, which I built with my own hands. I have to pay you for my heart? What is this taxation? Heart tax? The first time my people heard the words, they must have thought it was the name of an acute infestation of scabies. Just like the bedroom tax in the United Kingdom in 2012. This one didn't go down well. The heart tax provoked our first rebellion. I can imagine the dialogue now between my ancestors calling on our people to fight and that of the early settlers. We must protect our sacred land. We must fight. We will never let the bloody natives get the better of us. It is our nation, the land of our ancestors. None of that heathen mass is a match for a Winchester. Fire and fire again. Torai mapanga, take the banga. Jimbo, Museve, defend what is rightfully yours. Advance, no quarter given. Let the enemy fall like feathers to the ground. There was a mighty war that lasted for years. But finally, Nehanda Charwe was captured alongside her accomplice Kaguvi. They faced their execution with grim courage. Nehanda's last words were, "My bones will rise again. My bones shall rise again. My bones will rise again." And in the second Chimurenga, it was Majuona who embodied the ancestral spirit of Nehanda. The British, in their fear and savagery, cut Nehanda's head from her corpse. They sent it and that of the other Chimurenga leaders as a gift to Queen Victoria. To this day, we do not know where her head lays. And today in Zimbabwe, there is talk of another girl, a young Nehanda, not yet strong enough to understand her powers. The bones are rising again! I have a name that echoes my lineage. They know me as Hamunyare Mudinga Saunyama Mandawe Mudeka. I was born under a strong sky of an African dawn. summer of 1976. That's when I was born. It was a fever-hot summer in the United Kingdom, but in Zimbabwe, it was winter. I can imagine wrapped up warm in a matching shawl, bonnet, and booties. As I grew older, cheerfully padding about in the dusty streets with my cousins. After breakfast, my aunties would use stones, pebbles, and mounds of earth to tell us stories of our ancestors, great civilizations, and fictional worlds. When all the neighborhood children got up, we played pada, raka raka, nodo. My grandfather nicknamed me Bushman. I was called Anna after my grandmother. She was a very powerful woman. She would use storytelling to diffuse squabbling amongst us. Paivapo, she would call out. Paivapo. And one by one we would answer, Zefunde, Zefunde, Zefunde. And the stories would begin. How Tsuro always used to outwit the baboon. How the children got in trouble for not listening to the elders. And my favorite story of all, the story of the poor quiet man who ended up marrying the most beautiful girl in the village. My grandparents combined cultures in them. She, the Church of England, and my grandfather, Roman Catholic. Their legacy to us was the freedom of choice. I have such strong ties with my ancestral village. I would often get sent, you see, to fetch my great-grandmother to visit the family in the city. I have fond memories of eating cooked pumpkin sweetened by the heat from the sun. Boiled vegetables and groundnuts fused with smoke, and tea, drinking tea made from grinded tartar seeds. Those were the days of song, the song of strong women. From Nehanda, Charwe, Lozike, Majuona, Mbuya Mudeka, Mbuya Chikundi, and my dear mother, Evelyn. Sad times were coming. My grandmother had been growing ill. She'd been to visit countless Nganga, Sangoma, traditional healers. One of them even promised if she handed me over to marry one of his stupid sons, he could cure her. I mean, where would I be now if she'd made that bargain? Where would I be now? In that dark time, I found solace in Thomas Mapfumo and Effort Mijuru's music, especially Thomas's Chimurenga music. Although they used modern instruments alongside mbira and marimba, they spoke words of our ancestors, words about real lives, our lives. The time to leave Zimbabwe came. I was ready to leave, but I was torn. The cancer had spread all over my grandmother's body, but yet she performed the ceremony to the ancestors on her deathbed, asking them to protect me on this journey I was about to take. Ndakange ndichifara upenyu wakanaka ndashedzwa newe rufu ndisina kusvipira.
Flight UM17 boarding from gate 2. Passengers booked on flight UM17 Harare to London Gatwick. Please go to gate 2.
I climbed the steps to the aeroplane at Harare International Airport. It felt different from the last time I flew. This time I carried almost nothing for a new life. I waved goodbye to the strong line of women who stood behind me, from Nehanda to my mother. And as the plane lifted and my old world hid from view, I held my mbira, my hope, and had no idea what waited for me the other side of the world.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking on flight UM17 Harare to London Gatwick. We are now preparing our descent for landing. On behalf of Air Zimbabwe and our entire crew, I'd like to thank you for joining us on this trip and wish you all a very pleasant stay in the United Kingdom.
London. I looked round trying to identify some of the places I'd seen on postcards in Zimbabwe. Tall skyscrapers, Harrods, Buckingham Palace, Houses of Commons. But I couldn't see them from the window of my dingy little flat in Walthamstow. There were so many different nationalities in London, so many different ways of being. What struck me the most was how closed everybody was. Almost rude. No gentle greeting on the streets. It was a city of mazake, each to their own. One day on the underground, trying to make sense of this rat race, I saw a big poster of an African dance theatre. I had one thought in my mind. That was to become part of the company. To connect with Africa again, I had to join. I finally got my audition. And I joined and I listened and I watched and I danced. It was difficult fitting in with such a big dance theatre. There was so much politics, backstabbings, affairs, all sorts. In the end, I had to say my goodbyes and I left. My mother would often write, "Hello, Anna. How is London? Have you met the Queen yet? Are you making a lot of money?" No. Sometimes I'd close my eyes and I'd see Hongwe circling above my head and I'd ask myself, what am I doing here? Where is my life going? My music was dying. The work-home life balance was becoming increasingly difficult. One day, I just walked out with the clothes I was wearing and I never turned back. I asked myself, have I made the right decision? What if? What if? What if? But freeing myself made me realize what I could do. I followed the Hongwe in my dreams, opened my wings wide, and glided. Finally, I could feel the energy of the ancestors. The work started coming in. I was touring so much I was barely home long enough to wash my hair, let alone anything else. But having lived in two cultures, I found myself looking for a deeper desire to understand who I was. I was searching for a meaning not defined by external events, but rooted in something much deeper. In Zulu, we say umuntu, ngumuntu, ngabantu. A person is a person because of other people. As I walked on the empty beaches of the British countryside, I could see Hungwe calling me to climb upon her back, calling me back to Guru Uswa, to the land of the ancestors, the birthplace of all life on earth. There, I could walk in the tall grass and understand my place on this earth. I have been fortunate to have got the best out of the two cultures I live in. I touch the soil of Zimbabwe. I wear Zimbabwe inside me like an inner skin. It is my heartbeat. But I also carry the British Isles with me. When I'm in Zimbabwe, I feel the same breeze sing through the jacaranda and the mumvamaropa trees. And I know it sings in the beech and pine trees the other side of the world. Whatever our beliefs, we have far more in common than that which sets us apart. Our heritage, our identity, our beliefs is what makes us who we are. My name is Anna Mudeka. I am a daughter, a granddaughter, a sister. I'm a mother, a friend. I'm a musician, dancer, singer. I'm a cultural activist. And my journey to becoming an ancestor has only just begun. Kure, 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 kwanda kaba. Kure, 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 kwanda kaba.